In the dimly lit corridors of the Grand Palace, where candle flames trembled against the carved marble walls and the faint scent of rosewater drifted through the air, Queen Elizabeth walked with the poise of a woman who had been taught since birth that every step, every glance, every breath must reflect grace. Yet beneath the heavy layers of her embroidered gown, there was a quiet truth she could never speak aloud. A truth carried by every woman of her time, but buried under layers of shame and secrecy. For in an era when bloodlines determined destiny, the natural blood of a woman was considered unfit to be acknowledged. And so when the Queen's monthly cycle came, the palace machinery turned silently to accommodate what could never be openly discussed. A trusted maid would approach her chambers in the early hours, head bowed, holding a folded bundle of fine linen discreetly hidden under a silk cover. Her eyes never meeting the Queen's as she placed the fresh cloth on the dressing table beside, crystal bottles of perfume and hair oil, and Elizabeth, trained to move as though nothing were amiss, would dismiss her with a nod, remove the layers of her royal gown, and carefully set aside the soiled fabric from the day before. Its deep crimson marks a private reminder of her humanity in a world that demanded she be more than human. Yet even this simple act had to be concealed beneath the theater of royal life, for to let the court know, she bled like any other woman would invite whispers of weakness. So the stained linen would be carried away, wrapped in clean cloth, down narrow servant corridors, past watchful guards who pretended not to see, to be washed in boiling water in a hidden laundry room where the air smelled of soap and steam, and once cleaned, it would be dried in the sunlight of a walled garden. Away from prying eyes, while in the palace above, the Queen appeared at court, radiant jewels at her throat, her face a perfect mask of serenity, exchanging pleasantries with ambassadors and courtiers as though no trace of her private reality existed. Yet she felt the faint ache in her body, the weight in her abdomen. The awareness that even as she signed decrees and judged petitions, the most ancient rhythm of life was quietly moving through her, reminding her she was bound to the same cycles as the peasants who toiled in the fields and in the evenings. When the court was dismissed and the music faded from the great hall, she would return to her chambers, her ladies-in-waiting unpinning the golden ornaments from her hair, the firelight flickering across her tired features, and she would sink into the high-backed chair by the hearth, sometimes staring into the flames and wondering if future queens would still have to hide this part of themselves, or if one day the natural reality of womanhood could be spoken of without fear or shame. But until then, she wore her crown as both armor and burden, carrying the unspoken truth beneath the weight of history. Knowing that every public gesture of power was underpinned by private moments of vulnerability, moments no portrait would ever capture, yet which told more of her story than any royal decree ever could.